Hello and welcome, I'm Mystical, this is Mystical Gaming and we are back into Watcher of Realms. I wanted to go over the last couple of gear sets we've never done and looked at, just to see how they work and what they actually do, to see if the description is the same as how they actually operate. So, GR3 and then we'll start moving on to the mythical sets and see what they do. Now, the first piece in here is Fracture, 3-piece, increases crit damage by 45% when HP is above 70%. So the first part, well, the first issue with this set is the HP above 70%. I wouldn't therefore then use it on a fighter because you're going to get hit, so you'd need a lot of healing to make sure you're above 70% just to make sure that you get the increased crit damage by 45%. So you'd have to use it on mage or marksman. So for this test we are using a marksman. Okay, so here's the hero we're going to be using for this trial. Now, we haven't got the set bonus on. But what we have done is we've got our attack to 1550, we've got a crit rate of 81 and a bit percent, and we've got a crit damage at 47.3%. Got some healing effect which you don't need. Now let's chuck him in the campaign and see what he crits for. So here we go, let's let the mobs come in and we'll slow it down to 1 times speed and we'll see what we crit for. 3,284. There we go. Right, so we're back with our hero. We've now put him in the fractured set. There we go, we can see we've got our set bonus here. And then if we have a look at his stats, we've got back to the 1550 attack. Crit rate is lower and we've got 0 crit damage now. So we've only got the crit damage from the set, which it says increases crit damage by 45%. Now that doesn't mean it's going to multiply this by 45%, giving you 217.5% crit damage. I believe it's just going to add it on. So if it adds it on, we should be critting for a little bit under the 3,284 we saw just a minute ago. If it is multiplicative, then it should be above it. So here we are back in, we've got our set on and we are expecting to crit for 3,284. There we go, so we're just under it now when we crit. Our crit's now 2,847. So it is just adding on the 45%, it's not increasing it by the 45%. Let's get in and start the next set. Now the next set we've got is Mana Spring, 3-piece set, Rage Regen, Auto, +3. Now I've done a video on Rage Regen, I'll link it at the end so you can have a look at that. But essentially, when we have a look at our champions, there's Hollow, and we have a look at the details, and we scroll down here. The Rage Regen Auto is at 15. And this is the tick rate that they automatically regen. This is constantly ongoing. Whereas your Rage Regen here is when you hit someone, or you when you do your basic attack, or when you are hit. So here's Demios. So look at his gear, he's still got that on. Unequip everything from Demios. Now the reason we're using Demios is so we can have a look at something. So we can actually visually see. His Rage Regen Auto is at 12. And our set, if we remember, Rage Regen +3. So he is at 12. Hollow's at 15. There is the difference of 3. We can go and look to see what that actually does. Now, one of the things we've got to do is we'll get you down straight away. But Hollow starts her rage at 63. So this is essentially just a race from 63 to when the ultimate is ready. 62, 63, there we go. That's the difference. If you want Rage Regen, don't go Mana Spring, bring a Hollow. She is much better at giving it to you. Next set we got is Hawkeye set, 3 pieces, launching 5 basic attacks, increases damage by 25% for 6 seconds. That sounds nice and easy, so if we go and give it a check, we can get our hero. There she is, 3 pieces, Hawkeye set, and there's a set bonus. So here we are, and let's chuck her in, see how much damage she's doing. 1 times speed, and we are at 786. 786, 786. So we're expecting that to go up by 25%, so we should be hitting 982-ish. So there it is. But unfortunately, we don't get to see the buff go on, and we don't get a timer of how long it's going down to, so we don't really know how long it's going. Now, last thing to mention on that, if we read the wording carefully, launches 5 basic attacks, increases damage by 25% for 6 seconds. You cannot put that on a healer and hope to get the 25% bonus on there, because it is done by damage and is not done by attack. So you're not boosting someone's attack to get that damage increase. It is just the numbers you see from your attack, or sorry, from your damage, that's been boosted by 25%, not your attack. So go careful, don't put it on healers, there's absolutely no point. Okay, next up, Doom. 3 pieces again, single target damage plus 18%. Sounds nice and simple, very much like the sticks. 3 pieces, AoE damage 18%. So this is the single target version of the stick set. Now, let's go and have a play around with this set, and there are a couple of things to go over. So here we are, here's Voltas. Now Voltas is interesting when we read his skill. So his A1 deals magic damage and bounces to 1 more enemy. That's why we're using him. We want to have a look to see how this works with him. So let's jump in. Now this is just a datum, so we actually know what he's hitting with to start with. Slow it down to 1 turn speed. 3,800, 3,800, 3,800. Now if we can get a bounce coming off, there, 3,800. There we go. Nice and steady, we know exactly what he's now hitting for, so let's remove him out of there. So this is the piece we're taking off. It's just a crit damage piece, which shouldn't affect him at all. The reason we had that piece on was because the Doom piece has got crit damage, so let's swap that over. Shouldn't affect his stats whatsoever. So here we go, he's back in, but now we've got the Doom set on, so we're expecting to do 18% more damage to single target hits. However, 3.8, exactly the same, still hitting for 3,800. Now, again here, let's have a look, and there's the bounce, 3,800, and that's all he hits for. Now the reason is, we'll have a look, skill here, deals magic damage and bounces to 1 more enemy, not single target. The bit we're looking for in these, here we go, to 1 enemy, is that part there. That's the important part that rates this as single target, damage to 1 enemy. Now here's our gear swapped over. Slow it down to 1 times, we're hitting for 1,307, 1,307, 1,307. So there we go, we've had the same gear on. Again, we've got this quick damage piece. Let's swap that out and we will put on a piece from Voltas. Shouldn't change the stats. Now when we jump back in, there's our jump. Because these are single target hits, now he adds the 18% additional damage. That's what we're actually after. So make sure, if you're fitting it to someone, that it does actually state in their skills 1 enemy. If it doesn't, then this set is not going to work. Right, next set, the Wisdom. 3 pieces. After using ultimate skills, increases damage by 35% for 10 seconds. Right, after using ultimate skills, increases damage. Right, let's go and find someone to chuck some gear on. So here we go, here's Navarus. He has got most of the stuff on, and let's go and see. Let's go and do some damage. Here, what we should do, we can fight him now in playtest. Happy days. 1,814, 1,814. And then he crits for 3,008. And then if we do our ultimate hits 1,876. Critting all the time, 1,876. So we know what we're doing now. Now that's after using ultimate skills. We're now saying that this is the point where we start to get a bonus. So we're back down to our 1,814 and we're critting for 3,030. Right. So here we are again. Here's our piece. It's a healing effect piece. Let's replace that. So all we've done now is we've got it. After using ultimate skills, increases damage by 35% for 10 seconds. There we go. Doing our normal hits, and again we're hitting for the 1814, which we expect. Waiting for the ultimate to come up, and then we'll see what we hit for. Last time was 1876, 2533, 2533, which is our 35% extra damage. So it's not after the ultimate has ended or anything like that, it's as soon as you hit that ultimate, that's when that bonus starts kicking in, that 35% extra damage. So that's every time you're using your ultimate, you're getting a 35% damage buff. So again, that is an increases damage by 35% for 10 seconds. You can't see a countdown or anything like that, which is a bit of a shame. A nice bar over his head or something like that would be ideal, but essentially there you go, it's being used for 10 seconds. That's a damage increase again, so no use for healers because they're not doing any damage. Now let's have a look at the last couple of sets here. The Insight 3-piece, crit rate 15%. So as soon as you equip 3 pieces of it, you'll get a crit rate buff of 15%, and that'll go onto your stats, and you'll be able to see that in the details of the character sheet. Each single target damage dealt by basic attacks will deal extra damage equal to 10 times caster's level. Wow, that's a mouthful. So each single target damage dealt, now we know that it's got to have one enemy in the description of the skill. A basic attack will deal extra damage equal to 10 times the caster's level. So if you're at level 60, then 10 times that is 600. So each basic attack would give you another 600 damage. Now it is true damage because it's avoiding anything like any mitigation they've got on there or defense or anything like that. It's just straight up, you're going to do another 600 points of damage. Now I can't really see where you would use it. Now there is, where is he? Demios there. If we have a look at Demios, his basic attack deals 80% damage to one enemy 2 times. So you'd get it on both those then. Now his ultimate lands 4 consecutive strikes. Each basic attack lands 4 consecutive strikes. Again, this was referring to the basic attack, and the set also refers to the basic attack. Unfortunately, what you'd need is good insight set to get this to actually work, and maybe some attack speed as well to actually increase how often he's going to land his attacks. Look, his interval is at 2.6. You'd want that to come down as much as possible, and whether you could get it to work or not, I don't know. I really don't. By the time you've got a good set, then I think you could have just stuck a good set of anything on him and he'd be better off. Just don't see the extra 600 working well enough to actually make it a worthwhile set. Now the last set on it is the Asclepius set. Now this is quite odd as well. It's a 3-piece set, max HP 10%, healing effect plus 20. So that means it's mostly for healers and HP based healers at that as well. So if your healer is using attack based healing, then this isn't going to do a great deal for them. I mean, if your healer is HP based healing, then that's more useful. And also healing effect plus 20. That only affects the person casting the heal. It never affects the person receiving the heal. So don't be tricked into putting this on tanks to think you're getting more HP and greater healing on them. You're not going to. You'd only get that part of it. Unless you put it on the paladin, I forget her name, she would then get the healing effect for 20 because she heals herself, but that's off defense anyway, which would make the HP part a bit weird for her. So again, not the best set in the world. I think you'd be better off with some of the other healing sets and just running from there. But that's essentially what that set does. Now that does take us to an end of all these epic sets. So I'll now push on to Gear 819s, and then we'll start having a look at the mythical sets as well, maybe sometime next week. Now, thank you very much for your time. I hope you've learned something. If you could give us a thumbs up and subscribe, that would be more than helpful, and I'll see you all again soon in the next video. Cheers for your time.